There are three forms of advertising during Middle Ages, such as trademarks, signs, and town criers. Trademarks. Writer skills led early craftsmen to place their individual marks on goods such as pottery. As the reputation of one spread by word of mouth, buyers came to look for his distinctive mark, just as we look for trademarks and brand names today. Signs. Some traders like Venetian painted commercial messages on prominent tracks along trade lanes. Last but not least, the town criers. Men were paid to circulate along the streets of Athens, advising the citizens of important news and announcement on public events.
Early printed advertising. In 1473, first known printed advertising in English. In 17th century, weekly newspaper called Mercury started to appear in England. In 18th century, printed advertising was in general use. Development of modern advertising. During Industrial Revolution, altered the relationship between the maker and the user of the goods. A need for advertising to develop. There are three needs for advertising during Industrial Revolution: the need for communication, the need for transportation, and the need for education. The need for communication is the mechanization turned out goods faster than they could be absorbed in the region of their manufacturer. A need arose to extend markets geographically, and manufacturers had to find a way communicating the value of advertising provided the needed communication vehicle. Later on, it helped rise consumption so that the full use of machinery was possible. The need for transportation. A network of waterways, highways, railroads, and airlines are needed to carry the printed goods to scattered markets. This same system is needed to carry printed advertising media to prospective buyers living far from the producer. The need for education. Before all of those, people need to know how to read. Until the advent of radio in 1920s, people could only be reached through the printed world. In April 24, 1704, the first newspaper, which is the Boston Newsletter, published in its issue. In 1741, two magazines were published in the Philadelphia, but both failed, and the following century saw many attempts of establishing magazines ventures. Volney Palmer, the first American advertising agent, began the business in the early 1840s. In the 20th century is the appearance of radio and television. In 1895, Marconi transmitted the first wireless messages. In 1920, first broadcasting station was established by KDKA of East Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which carried presidential returns. January 1, 1922, the Federal Communication Commission had licensed 30 radio stations. In 1926, the National Broadcasting Company made it possible for all Americans to hear the same program at the same time. In 1950s, television changed the role of radio. Of the major source of in-home entertainment. During 1980, there were 708 television stations licensed in the U.S. alone.
The basic organizational function of advertising agency. We have 5 basic organizational functions of advertising agency. The first one is the account planning. Account planning is defined as the department combines research with strategic thinking and mix of researches and account management. Creative department. It is the engine of every advertising agency. It is the lifeblood of the business because the creative department is responsible for the product. The third one is the finance and accounts. Money at the end of the day, that is what advertising agency wants and their client too. This department is the center of all the money coming to and to bring out, and also to going out. The fourth one is the media buying. Media buying is the function of media buying to produce the advertising campaigns, radio and television. And the fifth one, the last, is the production. During the creative process, the production department will be consulted to talk about the feasibility of executing certain ideas.